Happy NBA Draft Lottery Eve.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Zach Aguilar, the voice of Tanjiro Kamado, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Happy Monday, everybody. More importantly, happy NBA Draft Lottery 2023 Eve. Yes, tomorrow is the big day. All Spurs fans are anxiously waiting to see if the Spurs will win the lottery or, worst case scenario, fall in the top three. We're going to be getting you ready for tomorrow's big event. I'm nervous. I'm nervous right now. I know our guest is going to be nervous. And a lot more. Yeah, we're going to be looking at Wemby. We're going to be talking about the draft risers, draft fallers, any names to keep an eye on as tomorrow night it's already here. That's insane. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts, on YouTube, Google Play, Kens 5 Plus app, so much more. Who is helping me today on Draft Lottery Eve? He is back, everybody. I had to go to him. Jack Thompson, San Antonio Sports Star's very own co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. He is our Locked On Spurs go-to guy for all things NBA draft, college players, and whatnot. Welcome back, Jack Thompson. By the way, did you like Tanjiro introducing your show today, your guest spot?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Demon Slayer has been probably my favorite anime for a while now, so pretty dope.
Yeah, well, before this show gets off the rails right now, because everybody's here for lottery talk, make sure to follow Jack on Twitter at Jack_Thompson33. You want to do that right now. And again, co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. Jack, it's here tomorrow night, the big night. All Spurs fans will be glued to their TV. Hopefully the ping pong balls are going to fall their way. Hopefully 1997 all over again with Tim Duncan. Why don't we just get this out of the way first? Let's talk about Wemby. And I think by now everybody knows what he can do on the court. Freak of nature, generational player, all the labels. But I want to kind of do a little quick buy or sell with you regarding Wemby in case the Spurs do win the lottery tomorrow night. The first one I want to ask you, are you buying or selling that it was a bad thing that he never made the leap to the top level basketball play, if you will, in Europe, the Euro League? He went to the highest level just in France. He never made the leap to, your Barcelonas, your Real Madrids. You saw Dirk Nowitzki do. I'm sorry, Dirk Nowitzki did that, yeah, for sure. Kristaps Porzingis, Luka Doncic do that. We never saw Wemby do that. Is that a little bit of a concern for you?
I wouldn't say it's much of a concern. I think it'll only be more of a transition into the NBA. Like it'll take a little bit more growing time, I would say, to get used to the physicality and the sheer athleticism of everybody else. But I don't think that really would lower his stock at all for me. No.
I guess I viewed it as we didn't get him see a play against the best of the best, at least in his situation, that being overseas. And the same knock kind of, I guess you could say, for Scoot Henderson. He was shut down early with G League Ignite. He didn't get the experience of playing NCAA tournament type atmosphere. But with Wemby being the hands down number one pick, I would have thought that he would have wanted to play against the best overseas in Europe. Again, Luka Doncic, he did that before he got drafted, and he more than proved himself ready.
Yeah.
So let's just say tomorrow night the ping pong balls go the Spurs' way. They win the lottery. Are you kind of cautioning Spurs fans don't expect an immediate impact, like day 1 second into his NBA career? It ain't going to happen like that, probably, right?
I think offensively, I would lower my expectations from the highlights. It's not going to be near as easy for him. But defensively, with his sheer size and length, athleticism, his lateral movement, I think right away he can come in and be an elite shot blocker, rim protector, guard a bunch of positions, stuff like that. But offensively, I think there will definitely be a little bit of growing pains for him. No doubt about that.
Another kind of buy or sell question I want to get at you before we continue on here with about Wemby is his offensive side. You brought it up, and a great segue, by the way. That being his 3-shot. We see in the highlights, oh my God, he's knocking down threes. Look at this. Left corner, right corner, up the middle. Look, he chased down a missed 3 for a dunk. He's knocking down threes. But we look at his numbers statistically from the 3-line, it's below 30% currently. Buy or sell at that, perhaps we're kind of, inflating what he can do beyond the arc.
I mean, I guess I buy into that a little bit, but there are very few players that just come right into the league and are immediate, knockdown shooters. So everybody has growing pains. The length gets different. The spacing is different, whole lot of stuff. And I feel like the spacing will end up helping him because in the NBA, unlike where he was playing, like he's the guy, everyone's glued to him. There's other players on the court that you've got to pay attention to. So he might be more open for more threes, and he's 7'4". You can't really guard his jump shot anyways. So there will definitely be some room for improvement, and obviously he'll be living, breathing, eating, sleeping basketball more than he ever has in his entire life once he gets to the NBA. So he already has great form mechanics. We've seen that, he can knock down really tough shots, catch and shoot, and off the dribble. So, yeah, there will be some growing pains, but I expect it to catch up, and eventually he'll be shooting it at a pretty decent clip, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Should the Spurs win the lottery? Look, I think by now there's no doubt, he is number one. Recently, Tony Parker spoke to French media and said flat out that he wants the Spurs to get Wemby and that he's hoping for some 1997 Tim Duncan luck fall the Spurs way. See, you got Tony Parker pushing for it. You're pushing for it. I'm pushing for it. Spurs fans across the globe are pushing for it. So, yeah, he definitely is the number one pick overall. We know his upside is just tremendous. Let's just have some fun here and say the Spurs do win the lottery tomorrow night. And it's day one, game one, regular season, not preseason or training camp for Wembanyama. By when do you think we'll start seeing his impact with the silver and black? About All-Star break, perhaps after All-Star break, or catching on at the end of the season when he finally gets it?
Well, it really depends on what you define as impact, because there's a whole lot you can do on the basketball court besides, put the ball in the bucket. And I think in every other aspect, he's going to be able to come in and make an impact right away. He's 7'5", over 8 foot wingspan. So immediately he's going to come in and be the tallest dude in the NBA. So he's going to be able to block shots left and right. He's also super athletic, so weak side help is going to be phenomenal. He's a good passer. He comes from that European basketball style, so he knows how to share the rock and he knows how to pass out of double teams and stuff like that. So I think everywhere besides scoring is going to be immediate. Now, it's hard to tell when he'll catch up to the way the NBA is because the European game is so much different. It is a lot more physical. It is a lot more IQ oriented. So I would say, yeah, All-Star break is a good benchmark for where maybe the offense will catch up to the rest of what he can do.
He is Jack Thompson with San Antonio Sports Star, co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. You can listen to that on San Antonio Sports Star. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Jack_Thompson33. And yeah, it's draft lottery eve. I am ready to go. Hey, when we get back, we're going to talk about draft risers. Who is Jack seeing rising on the mock draft boards, and much, much more right here on Locked On Spurs. I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. They have a new $1 million daily Superflex promotion during the NBA playoffs and finals. Every day of the NBA playoffs and finals, one PrizePick user will win a chance to become a millionaire. One entry placed after 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time will randomly be selected each day. Whoever plays that entry will be given a 6-picks flex with the following payouts. 6 correct picks equals $1 million. 5 correct picks, $80,000. 4 correct picks, $16,000. Full details can be found at prizepicks.com/million. You must opt in at this link to be eligible for the $1 million entry. Once you opt in, all you got to do is play the game like normal. You could be the next lucky winner. Hey, otherwise, you want to play PrizePicks. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. They offer projections on any sport that you watch, like NBA, NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA, disc golf, Eurobasket, MMA, and so much more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. Super easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can get themselves a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks gives you $100. You deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Jack Thompson with San Antonio Sports Star, my go-to guy for everything college basketball, NBA draft risers, mock draft, all that good stuff. Make sure to check him out on the Saturday morning hangover on San Antonio Sports Star. All right, Jack. Hopefully, good. I'm getting nervous. I'm nervous. I don't think we've seen the city feel this vibe for a draft lottery in a while since Tim Duncan. Maybe a little bit with last year with Sohan, but yeah, wow. City's a buzz. But with all Spurs fans kind of glued to mock draft boards, you're probably glued to it. You're probably talking about it on San Antonio Sports Star. Let's start off with the draft risers. Who are you seeing right now rise their stock in the draft?
Well, last episode we talked about a couple guys. We talked about Taylor Hendricks from UCF. He's probably been the biggest draft riser overall. I mean, no one knows who he is. He's coming out of UFC, playing in, a much lower conference. Didn't get the national spotlight, but he's 6'9", combo forward. He recorded, I see here, 35 dunks and 35 three-pointers in the same season. So obviously he can score from all three levels. But since we've gone over him a lot in the last one, we'll mix it up, go to some different ones. A couple more guys that I've seen rise a lot would be Cam Whitmore from Villanova. He is another, 6'7", 6'8" forward. He's 19 years old. He was the MVP of the FIBA U18 tournament last year, Big East Rookie of the Year. His numbers don't really jump off the page as far as like his points per game and stuff like that. It's only around 13, but he shot 34% from behind the arc, and he was 43% from three-pointers from the NBA distance when he backed up a little bit, so that's very intriguing. He's a super strong, super athletic forward that would really fit in with a lot of teams, and I think him playing the three with Sohan playing the four would definitely be sort of a fire and ice type scenario. Definitely like Cam Whitmore a lot.
Right.
Another guy who's been rising a lot that I've seen is Cason Wallace, point guard out of Kentucky. He kind of translates to a Drew Holiday type guard. Excellent defender, good shooter from behind the arc, and he's just got a lot going for him. Very smart, very cerebral player, and he can play the one or the two, so that's definitely intriguing to a lot of teams. Let's see. After that, Jordan Hawkins, he made a huge name for himself in the tournament, elite knockdown shooter. I think he'll get a lot of buzz going into it. And that's really the biggest risers I've really seen. Yeah, in the latest mock drafts, because it used to be like going back to Cason Wallace, like Nick Smith, Keontae George, Anthony Black were all definitely higher rated than Cason Wallace, but I've seen a lot recently that he's jumping up ahead of those guys. And Cam Whitmore, he was looking like a lower lottery pick in the beginning when everyone started making their mock drafts, but as people have dove into more analytics and stuff, he's jumped up to more of a mid lottery guy, that 5, 6, 7 area. So I think those would be the biggest risers I've seen lately.
All those guys are projected top 10, correct?
Yeah, those are all
Okay.
projected top 10, except
Okay.
maybe Jordan Hawkins. He might fall out of the top 10, but he'll be, in that 10 to, 15 range if he doesn't get picked earlier.
Yeah, with the NBA also the combine right around the corner too. I think it starts today. We know Wemby's not going to play. It's because his season is still ongoing. But you're going to see Scoot Henderson out there, Cam Whitmore, the Amon and Osar Thompson, the brothers together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you suspect those draft kind of top 10 locks to have a short stint at the combine?
Yeah, most likely. I think it's most important for the Thompson twins to get the most time out there in the 5-on-5 out of all the people we've seen, because I just don't know about the OTE league, the overtime elite. It's just hard to tell at what level they're playing at. Obviously, they're all super talented high school age guys, but it's just it's hard to tell what the intensity is really like for them. So I would like to see them, go out and shine against the guys that they're trying to be drafted before and around. I think it's most important for them.
Yeah, I'm going to be glued to the combine. Once it gets going, I gotta keep an eye on that. But I look at guys like you mentioned, the overtime elite, and I'm right there with you. The Spurs kind of have a taste of it already with Dominic Barlow, and
he's the only guy in the league from overtime elite. He's barely played.
Yeah, and he's barely played, so we don't really have a gauge yet. You look at that situation, the Spurs are willing to at least tap into that, put their toes in the water, so to speak, with an overtime elite guy, and Barlow shows flashes, but he's definitely still raw. I think this is going to be interesting. The Spurs are, I think, worst case scenario number 7, and that's the worst possible spot they can land. Are you saying some of the names that you saw rising, if they're at 7, would you classify them as short-term or long-term projects?
I think kind of in the middle. I think we would see a rise out of them like we saw from Jeremy. Like, it might be a little rough in the beginning, but once that NBA confidence level kind of rises to where, they are, just more confident in their game and playing in the NBA, I think that all those players after, Wemby and Scoot can really make a difference at the next level.
He is Jack Thompson with San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on Twitter at Jack_Thompson33. If you got questions about tomorrow's draft lottery or just the draft itself, let him know and just send him a message that you want to get his opinion on tomorrow's draft lottery or the NBA draft. When we get back, we're going to be looking at the draft fallers, which names should the Spurs kind of be leery about, and also kind of other names that Jack wants to throw out there that could be on the Spurs radar, and much, much more right here on Locked On Spurs.
I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.
Hey, San Antonio, you stay up late last night catching the end of a game? Or perhaps you need a big pick-me-up? Or you're just anxious about tonight's draft lottery? Then you look no further than Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee right now. Mudslinger's is locally owned and independent coffee shop, and they're proud to make delicious coffee for our community. Do it fast and friendly so you get on with your day. If you're in the mood for a latte, cold brew, Red Bull Lightning Infused Bolt. Yeah, you heard that right. A Red Bull Infused Lightning Bolt drink. I recommend adding strawberry to that. Then you got to check out Mudslingers. They have drinks for every taste, including the nostalgia vibes. Thanks to yours truly, there's something on the menu. If not, then ask for it. Ask for the OGOJ. So if you remember the times back in Ingram Park Mall, Windsor Park Mall, South Park Mall, and getting yourself an Orange Julius, then just vibing in the mall, get it right now. Mudslingers brought the drink back, and it's called the OGOJ, named by yours truly. They have a wide selection of dairy alternatives as well, low-calorie options, even caffeine-free drinks for those who want to take it easy. You want to go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee for a tasty and convenient caffeine fix. Located at 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive near 281 at 1604. They're open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You also find them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, at Mudslingers STX, all one word. Again, ask for the OGOJ. I help inspire that, and Mudslingers made it. It's there for you right now. So get those nostalgia vibes back. Life is too short for bland coffee.
Nobody summons Megatron.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Jack Thompson. He is our go-to guy, all things college basketball, NBA draft lottery. Follow him on Twitter at Jack_Thompson33 and check out his show. He is co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. So get this, Jack, you're helping me out on draft lottery eve. Your co-host, Pledger, he's helping me out on draft lottery night as soon as that ping pong ball rises. So you got Saturday morning representing right here.
Love that. I mean, not to toot our own horns, but definitely know the most about hoops at the Star. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, I hope Jimenez hears this so he can put out something so ridiculous that he just gets grilled so bad. Your boy, man, he's been getting
like
just
an everyday occurrence for him.
I heard Lonnie Walker is his son, and then it comes out of the name.
Yep, and then you go back into his tweets, and he's roasted Lonnie a few times, so he's very back and forth over that line.
Did you hear that his nickname that fans give him? They call him the Chancla.
I did not hear that, but that's hilarious.
For those who do not speak Spanish, chancla is just Spanish for flip-flop sandals. And so, yeah, they call Jimenez the flip-flopper. But anyway, back to the NBA draft lottery. So we talked about some of the draft risers. Let's talk about some of the draft fallers. What names you seen that are kind of been on shaky ground, perhaps, rumblings that they may go back to college or withdraw? What are you seeing out there?
Well, I think right now everyone's pretty locked in. It's hard to tell who's going to withdraw until, after the combine and these guys kind of get their feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the biggest fallers I've seen as of late, which is kind of shocking because they were highly touted just a few weeks ago rather than, even before that, is Nick Smith. It's probably the biggest faller I've seen in a lot of drafts.
Oh, wow.
He was regarded as probably the best guard in this class, but he really struggled to stay healthy and really wasn't efficient at his season at Arkansas. So maybe with a clean slate, he's free of all his injuries, back healthy, he can come back and be the kind of guy that everyone thought he was. But before he was a lottery lock, like top 10 lock, no doubt about it. But now I'm seeing him, as low as, 18 in some drafts.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably the biggest faller I've seen. Keontae George, another guard, super, super talented freshman coming out of Baylor. Another guy that appeared to be a top 10 lock, but I've seen him fall out of some lotteries and some drafts. Oscar Thompson, I mean, he's definitely not falling out of the lottery, but before it was looking like he was, top 5 easy. Now I'm seeing him, in the back end of the lottery, kind of like that 7 to 10 range, somewhere in there. But I mean, that's not a huge drop off. Some more fallers, I would say. I think while he might be low rated as of right now and might fall a little bit, I definitely disagree with what I'm seeing in mock drafts, and it's the guard Jalen Hood-Schifino out of Indiana, 6'6", point guard, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists per game. I think the only thing that's holding him back is I've seen that he's only shot 8 for 36 on 3-pointers from the NBA distance. So that's definitely what's holding him back from being that, lottery lock, I would say. But if he can get that going, he could end up being the best guard in this class. He's such a cerebral, floor general type player. And another actually big faller that I'm seeing is Jet Howard, Juwan Howard's son out of Michigan. During the season, he was blowing up, scoring a bunch of points, and he was really rising in a lot of mock drafts. But now people have gone down to like the nitty gritty, looking at everything. He's fallen. I've seen him fall out of the first round. Sometimes he's a really late first round pick. So he's probably the biggest follow that I've seen would be Jet Howard. But he does have a very translatable skill set. He's a very elite scoring guard, and if he can just kind of get his defense and his shot taking, he takes a lot of really tough shots, in control, then I think he can still have a pretty solid NBA career.
Yeah, exactly. And the Spurs, have worked out a few guys already. There was, I think his name was Angler out of Baylor, a guard. There's a report out there that he met with the Spurs
Flagler.
already, and Zach Flagler. Thank you. He worked out with the Spurs, and you have most recent is the Kansas State's forward Naquan Tomlin. He worked out with the Spurs already.
He's intriguing.
I was about to ask you.
He can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. What do you see out of him?
Well, he's a 6'8" forward that can really do a lot of little things really well. Or 6'10" forward can really do a lot of things. He's not particularly great at anything, but he can handle the rock. He can shoot it a little bit. He's got some low post game, some mid post game. Solid defender at 6'10", can guard, like 3 through 5 probably if he puts on some weight to guard those 5. So he's definitely an intriguing, sort of more of a long-term prospect, I would say. But at 6'10", his mobility and the way he can handle the ball and score it from all 3 levels is definitely intriguing for teams that have the time to sort of build up a prospect rather than need one to come out the gate and help them right away.
So I got to ask you, Jack, how many candles are you lighting right now? How many Lucky Rabbit's foot you have hanging all across your apartment?
Oh, man. Right, I'm lighting a fire code amount of candles so that we can get Wibby.
Okay. I'm going to have fun with you right now. Okay, so the ping pong balls go up tomorrow night, and you see, I'm going to get your reaction, random reaction. Spurs are going to be picking at number 4. How are you going to react?
I mean, I'll definitely be upset because we're not getting what we had that horrible season for, which is the number 1 pick. But once the nerves and the anger settles a little bit,
the anger.
It won't be the end of the world because there are still a lot of players in the draft that can, evolve into something really great. And we just kind of have to continue to trust the process, but definitely got to be ready for a season next year that is not far off from what we had this year.
If the Spurs don't win tomorrow night's lottery, I'm blaming the mural that went up in San Antonio of Wemby. I think that jinxed it.
Yeah, a little too early for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs fans go over there and just like kick it down. Like, what were you thinking? Oh, you don't put this up. You don't mess with the basketball luck gods. But yeah, it should be a great, great night. And I am sure once the dust settles this upcoming Saturday on the Saturday Morning Hangover, Jack, you guys will be talking all about the draft lottery and so much more. What you got cooking at the Saturday Morning Hangover?
Well, I mean, that's definitely going to be the talk of the town right there. Will be who the Spurs get, who we think the Spurs are going to get, where they land, and just kind of like just projecting what the season could look like with different players that we could potentially draft in different fits. And we also have a boatload of money to kind of throw out this season.
That's true.
So
that is true.
We'll probably be talking about that, potential free agent signings. We're going to go over it all. There's no doubt about that. We're going to dive deep into the Spurs.
Let me get your thoughts on this. Let's just say the Spurs win the lottery, get Wemby, done and done. Do you expect maybe free agents start coming to San Antonio because of Wemby?
Oh, yes. Most definitely. Players are going to want to play with him because we're going to go from, I think we had 1 primetime game this last season.
Yep, just
one. I think if we land Wemby, it's going to multiply by 100%. Like everyone across the nation is going to want to see Wemby play, and that's going to in turn, like what NBA player doesn't want to play in primetime games? Who doesn't want to play with the greatest prospect anyone has ever seen? Like that's going to be a huge influx of eyes and talent to the Spurs. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there was a report recently that I think something like Wemby will bring $500 million to any franchise.
Yeah, that's
in
what
value.
Woj said.
Yeah,
a couple months ago, Woj said that whatever team lands Wemby, that's going to be an influx of $500 million into that organization.
Good Lord.
He'll be the number one selling jersey. He'll be everybody's favorite player. It's going to be huge for whoever we can get him. And that'll immediately turn San Antonio back into the biggest small market team that we were, for the past 20 years up until probably the past 4, that all eyes will be back on us like they were before.
And the draft lottery is tomorrow night. Spurs have 14% chance at winning it all. Hopefully that 14% chance will happen, and the Spurs are the last team standing tomorrow night. Thank you once again to Jack Thompson. Appreciate you as always. Yes, I got to catch up on Demon Slayer. Jack and I were talking about that before we hit record, and apparently I goofed up, but kind of sort of not really. Jack was helping me out. I didn't know that the train arc was a movie. I think I got, Jack, you tried to tell me that I got duped. Netflix just broke it up into a season, right? Something like that?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah, the Mugen Train arc is basically the second season of Demon Slayer,
right.
But when like the episodes come out, it's broken up.
Yeah. But I saw the movie technically, so now I am caught up. Now I can go into the next season as well. And once again, we want also,
dude.
Yeah, I know. I heard. I cannot wait. But once again, make sure to follow Jack on Twitter at Jack_Thompson33. Talk to him about tonight's or tomorrow night's draft lottery and so much more. And check out his show, Saturday Morning Hangover, and on the San Antonio Sports Star. So for Jack Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.